Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good Super Bowl Sunday. I'm doing the post on sharing two key characteristics of the organizational structure. I'm going to do my place of employment. So I wanted to do one challenging one and one supportive one. So the challenging characteristic of the organizational structure is the way communication works, just the way the management is structured. So like recently I was doing some 90-day reviews, and when I complete them, I have to send them to my manager, and then she sends them to her manager, and it goes all the way up the pipe to corporate, and then eventually they'll come back down to me after everything's been worked out. And this is just for a 90-day review. So it took like a month and a half after doing a review to get it back and actually give it to the person. So that's one example. Makes it challenging. Another is that, say you're trying to make a decision on a case or do a certain transfer, and maybe you need to check and see, what the guidelines are, what the policy is. So, you ask someone above you, well, they may ask the person above them and the person above them. So it may take forever to get an answer, or it could just be really hard to do things in a timely manner when you have, a really big organization with tons of different programs. And, the way they have it structured is also, even though it's a challenge, it can also be supportive. And so the next thing I wanted to talk about, the next characteristic that's being supportive, is the checks and balances in place at the organization I work for. So we have, so like say support counselors bill for their notes, their documentation or whatever. So they'll assign it to their supervisor. Their supervisor will review it and approve it. And then once that's approved, they submit the same appointment in the company's own program they have to track notes. And so that gets reviewed by compliance. So after compliance looks at it, it will go over to the county. Well, it actually goes to contracts. So each time you do any sort of documentation or anything in the computer regarding the company, it gets addressed by, five other layers of protection within the company. So, everything is constantly checked so there's no mistakes. And then every month we also do peer review. So it can be really supportive because, everyone makes mistakes, and documentation can be hard at times. So, when you put up a note, um, documentation, you know that it's going to be checked by several people above you, um, so that, you know, nothing's ever going to come back to bite you in the end. Um, so the stage of tribal leadership, I thought about this a lot, and at first I was thinking stage three, um, but at the same time, I think it's also kind of close to stage four, and that's because each program has its own team that runs the program, and they all have to work very closely together. And all of them will say, our program's the best, or we help our clients the most. So within each program, or within each team, I would say it's weird great. But then as the organization as a whole, like in the big offices where you have, three different programs, they don't really interact with each other that much, and they don't really help each other out. So I would say that was stage three, as in weird great. Um, but also, like I said, inside the actual programs themselves, everyone works really close together, and they all become, really close knit family. And I think that's part of what kind of alienates them from other programs. So yeah, between stage three, stage four, tribal leadership, I think is where it's at. Yeah, so I think that's everything I had to address. Um, I hope you guys enjoy the post. Maybe you learn a little bit about, you know, my organization without saying the name, and enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you.